The sound of Lancashire.
Graham Liver. Waking you up. BBC Radio Lancashire.
Yeah, the F word, 12 minutes after 7. The energy firm Quadrilla says it's looking forward to getting started after the government announced it's to lift a ban on the process of fracking. Back in 2019, a moratorium was imposed after the firm caused earth tremors at its fracking site at Preston New Road, just outside Blackpool. Recently, the Prime Minister, Liz Truss, presented her proposals for dealing with the energy crisis to the Commons. Among the measures, a brief but significant mention of her aims for the shale gas industry, which has so far made little progress in the UK.
It is vital that we take steps to increase our domestic energy supply. We will end the moratorium on extracting our huge reserves of shale, which could get gas flowing as soon as 6 months, where there is local support for it.
Where there is local support. Now, how do you gauge that? Quadrilla has welcomed the news. Its chief executive, Francis Egan, says that they're looking forward to working with the government to ensure the industry can start generating results as soon as possible. He says the prize, if we get this right, will be an energy strategy fit for the 21st century that provides security of supply, economic prosperity and vital support to British public. Now, at the moment, there's little equipment, actually, at Preston New Road. I drove past it just the other day. But the wells there have not been capped and could be fracked once again. Nick Danby is from Frack Free Lancashire, which is one of the groups opposed to fracking, and is with us this morning. Nick, good morning.
Good morning.
So what do you make of Liz Truss's announcement, it seems such a long time ago now, saying that we have to look at fracking again?
Well, not a surprising announcement. We knew this was coming, but she's made a point of saying, as you mentioned just now, subject to community consent. I don't know how she proposes to measure this, but no one I speak to is in favour of a return to fracking.
Yeah, that is the thing. With local support, how will they gauge that? Will there be a
no idea, Graham.
Yeah, will there be a vote, a referendum? Because they're never contentious, are they? So will there be one of those? And it's also whether local people feel the benefits of it. Let's say around Preston New Road, and I don't know how far you'll have a patch around the fracking site where you actually cut that off. But if you say each household gets $2,000, do you think they'll get local support then?
Well, people are struggling to pay their bills. There's no doubt about that. But accepting money to have help with your exorbitant bills does not signify a consent to fracking. The two issues are completely different as far as I'm concerned. We've repeatedly said no at every level of local government, and I'm pretty confident in the unlikely event that they had a referendum, we'd say no again.
But Lancashire County Council said no last time,
Indeed.
And the government said crack on with it.
Exactly. So that shows how much this government thinks about local consent, community consent.
So
And she's also said, incidentally, that we will follow the science. Now, as I'm sure you're aware, the previous administration commissioned a report from the British Geological Survey as to whether fracking could be done safely, and the government has sat on this report since June. We have no idea what it says, but the very fact that they haven't published it suggests to me that it certainly doesn't say fracking can now be done safely.
The government would say it will publish a report which it says suggests that more drilling is required to establish data on how much shale gas we're sitting on and the seismic impacts. Isn't more information a sensible way to go?
Well, let's have a look at the situation in Lancashire. Quadrilla have been trying to frack successfully for more than 10 years. We've had 2 moratoriums, let's not forget, both brought in because they caused seismic events. And in the event, they produced enough gas for a medium-sized barbecue. So they've had plenty enough time to evaluate how much gas is there. And let's remember, it's not just about how much is there, but how much is recoverable. And so far, after all this time, they've produced virtually nothing.
Are you opposed to fracking full stop or just fracking in Lancashire?
Oh, well, I'm absolutely opposed to fracking full stop. In fact, I drove all the way over to a small village in Nottingham yesterday, 120 miles, to support a group there who are making the same fight as we are. So no one's going to accuse me of being a NIMBY. I'm an environmentalist. I'm interested in the future of the planet, and any new fossil fuel industry is certainly not the direction we should be going in.
Obviously, they do an awful lot of fracking in the States, but they do fracking in places, America is a much bigger country, obviously.
Indeed.
And they do fracking in the middle of nowhere, don't they?
Indeed, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's the issue when people say, well, it's been a big success in America. Firstly, I would say, there will be lots of people in America who wouldn't agree with that. But as you rightly said, America's a huge country with lots of areas where no one lives, so the potential impact on communities is low. The other point that needs to be made is the geology is completely different in America. And our own MP for Preston New Road, as I'm sure you're aware, Mark Menzies, has said it cannot be done safely here. So no matter what crisis we're in, and there's no doubt we are in an economic crisis at the moment, it doesn't change the geology. It doesn't change Mother Nature.
So what happens now? Are we going to get back to protests? Are we going to get back to people on Preston New Road?
Well, my standard quote, Graham, is if they come back, so will we. Now, I understand that Jacob Rees-Mogg is going to make an announcement this morning. Yeah. Obviously, we've no idea what that announcement is going to be. But obviously, we hope they don't come back to Preston New Road, but we hope they don't come back anywhere. But if they do, what I would say about protest is we were completely vindicated last time. We said what would happen, i.e. there would be earthquakes, and that's exactly what happened. So I'm confident that if we do have to come back, we will get more support than we ever have in the past. I expect there to be a substantial support, even from people who were previously, not on our side, and maybe even thought we were a bunch of layabouts. Will now realise that we were right. We were vindicated.
Nick Danby, thank you. Nick Danby from Frack Free Lancashire, one of the groups opposing fracking.